One of the most important lessons you need to learn in life is when you receive blessings, do not ask why. Just be extremely grateful and open to receiving more. And I'm going to talk about some anecdotes and allegories that we can all relate to. Some of them will be coming from my own personal life experience within this lifetime or previous ones. And we're also going to talk about really why, again, trusting in the universe is so important when you are on your purpose. So first of all, this video is for people who are, I would say, aligned with their higher purpose, seeking evolution in their soul's journey, and in general, individuals who really want to live their authentic self. Now, life is a very interesting chess game, I like to say. And I say game because a lot of life is gamified. If you look at how technology has really conditioned us to, have some type of, let's say, reward, and we then use our dopamine and our actions to drive us towards some certain, objective or goal. Life is really, truly a video game. Now, is it a simulation? That's for another video. But for this video, we are specifically going to talk about the metaphysical construct of why it's so important to trust in your process. So let's give the analogy real quick of, by the way, I'm 26. I'd like to say that I just turned 26, but it was really like 4 months ago. You'll get it as you grow up. And just like saying the number in your head is just like, oh wow, I'm that old. Anywho, I also think our culture is really obsessed with age, but for the right reason. It's a mile marker. I digress. As we continue in this topic, I want to get the allegory of people in their mid-20s. So a lot of people in their mid-20s have to make a choice right now. And that choice is play it safe or risk it. Playing it safe is like staying at your parents' house and sacrificing your mental health, but conserving your cash, right? Like, that's a way to play the game. Is that the right way? I don't think there's a right way. Okay, yeah, there is a right way. But like, that's one choice, right? So the next choice is you, let's say, find a job or some income source, and it's paying you just enough to, cover your bills. And nowadays, that's probably like 4 or 5K a month, right? You need to really cover your bills. At this point, things are expensive. This economy is not the easiest. So you have to be generating a decent amount of income. And I say decent, that's really not decent at all. That's very, very lower quartile. But I get it. Right now it's tough. And a lot of people are looking for work. And I don't want to sound like an ungrateful person. So let's just say you're making 5K a month, and you are then tasked at living on your own, maybe with roommates, in an apartment, in a city, right? So like, you're going to be pushed. You're going to be pushed to budget correctly, squeeze to manage your time correctly, having the program of society, having to potentially think about marriage and kids and how other people think about you in these specific ways. And that's what societal pressure is. It's just, there's pressure from the collective consciousness to do certain things, right? But again, you have these two choices, and which one do you choose? And I'm not saying that I'm right or I'm wrong, and I'll let you decide. That's literally your choice. You have free will. But the person who decides to go out there, take the risk, and at least try to live their life, even though they know it might be a dangerous those are the people who ultimately are on their highest timeline and mostly make it. And it's because they're trusting in themselves, which is also trusting in the universe that things are going to work out. When you do things and actions, and that action communicates to the universe something, right? So I like to bring back up the analogy of chess, because if you think about grandmasters or just people with high elo in chess or high ranking, what they do is they study their moves. They see, like, analyzing, calculating, and constantly iterating on their game. And that's exactly how you should be playing your life. Like, imagining yourself as this human. Yes, you are a human, but you are controlling this human from a third person perspective. And that's why I like to call your higher self. And if you can connect to that higher self and really play that chess game, that's kind of like where you want to be. Because you can really start to understand, your purpose, and you can start to discover that when you use that lens on the world. And let's continue here on this thesis that you need to be trusting the process and taking risk, even though it might be dangerous or people might tell you that's the wrong thing. And why does this work? Because, again, it communicates to the universe that you trust yourself, you trust it, and then blessings emerge from that, right? And I've had a number of, let's just say, traumatic milestones in my life that may or may not have broken someone, broken them apart. I'm talking about my entire apartment complex, not just my apartment, the entire complex, burning, catching on fire, when I was 21, 2022, or 2021, either one of those times. I had an apartment fire that destroyed everything. And I called my insurance that same week. And you know what they told me? They told me that your plan does not cover anything that you do, doesn't cover anything because it only covers the damages you do to the apartment. I'm like, what even is this? And then I checked, and we had the lowest premium monthly cost, so it kind of correlated and made sense after that. But yeah, lost everything, had to go back to the parents for a month, and then get another apartment. So in that moment where I knew I lost everything, it was a moment where I actually flipped the paradigm, and I was joyful. So joyful in the sense that people thought I created the fire. It was hilarious. But in reality, it's just my defense mechanism. Whenever something traumatic happens to me, I instantly try to flip it in my head and essentially create a positive paradigm and perspective for myself. So in that scenario, I just didn't know what was going to happen. First, I was really joyful because I thought I was going to get a check. But as you heard that story, I didn't get the check. And then I also was positive because I just thought something cool was going to happen after this. And that's the mindset you should have after, major events. Something interesting is going to happen after this. When I say major event, maybe it's like, again, losing a home, losing a relationship, a job. These are all circumstances that put you in a, let's say, different timeline. And a timeline that is truly, macro in a sense, right? Because if you think about it in a mathematical way, let's say that you live to 100. And let's say your major, quote unquote, major life choices will take 5-10% of your timeline. And at 100 years, it's 5-10 years. So that is substantial if you think about it, because out of that 100 years, 5% is still a lot. And 5 years still feels like a lot, although time is moving extremely fast. So you get the point. When you have these major life changes, do not crumble in fear. Instead, accept it for what it is and get excited for what's coming next. Because more than likely, it is the universe blessing you through redirection, saying that you are not supposed to be at this place, and that is the way of a person who's living on their highest timeline. Just things will happen naturally to you, and you should somehow expect it, but also not expect it, because if we use the lens of non-duality and we're essentially God playing himself or itself, then we also use the lens of amnesia, how we forgot this journey, this human experience. So that means really buying into all of your experiences and making sure you essentially put all your effort in. That is also how you really gain trust from the universe. So I'll leave you guys with that for this first transmission, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you resonated in any type of way, please engage with this video. Subscribe, of course, because we need them subscribers. And yeah, I'll keep pumping these guys out. I'm starting to get on a rhythm and being able to really channel in front of the camera. So I'm excited to see how this channel grows and the people that we will affect with our message. But at the end of the day, life is such a beautiful, precious experience. You should not be playing in fear, because time is too valuable for you not to be risking it for your highest timeline. So if this motivated you, give me some signals, some positivity, and we will be back. I will catch you guys later. Bye.